here's something that you didn't know. 2 of those special atomic bombs haven't gone off.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to fantaCTE. We're getting started a little bit late due to some technical issues. Once again, my name is Nick Masick. Your host, your other co-host on the upper left-hand side of your screen, Vital the Juiced, and our special guest tonight, filling in for Lonnie Cox, the absent Lonnie Cox. On the bottom is Steve Lamm. Welcome back to the program, Steve Lamm.
Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So for those of you guys who are watching live or would like to watch live next time, just so you know, if you're watching live, we will actually answer your questions. You can make a comment on our YouTube stream, our live stream, and I can actually see your comments as they pop up. And so if you have any questions that you want, any things you want us to talk about, some advice for your team, waiver pickups, all that stuff. We cover a lot of that during the episode, but if you have any specific questions, type it in there and we will get to your questions during the show. If you just want to say hi and whatever, that's cool too. We like you guys for watching. Thank you. All right, let's get right into it. Vital, what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about?
You know what I want to talk about first.
You want to? Do you really want to talk about?
That is what I want to. You know that I want to talk about. In your heart, I didn't even have to say it. We didn't even talk about this beforehand. He knew.
I was going to give you the option because we can also talk about Tua. I don't know if you want to be the bearer of bad news or good news first, but you pick your topic first. Go ahead. What are we going
Okay. All right. I won't start off bitter. All right. I won't be petty because I was very actually Tua showed improvement. Really, he really did. Like it was like every snap he got better. He a few bad grounding plays. Like I don't know what he was thinking. But
as rookie mistakes go, those were not that, like he didn't throw interceptions on those. You know what I mean? At
he
least
got one ended up being an interception.
Right. But as far as like the grounding plays, like he's trying to do the right thing. And early on in a rookie career, that's good. Like he knows when he should get rid of the ball.
Yeah, he's so good on the move too. He's like a mini, I don't want to jinx it. It seemed like a little mini Patrick Mahomes. I was like, come on, I like it.
Yeah, he was exciting to watch. He was fun. That game was exciting to watch.
Oh yeah, it was close, man.
Man, it was, but just like both of the quarterbacks, like because Tua stepped up so much, like it was just a really fun duel.
Brady was on it too, dude. Like he was killing us with his legs too. He ran last one. I was like, come on, wide open.
They were both lighting it up. That was probably the game to watch of the week. It was so exciting, and it was just young, exciting talent that you could just see the future of the NFL in that game.
Yeah.
So, I think Tua answered a lot of people's questions. I mean, as a Dolphins fan, you must be super pumped. The future is bright for the Dolphins right now. And so, all right. So we got the good news out of the way. What do you have to say about the Bucs and the demise of Tom Brady? Go ahead. Let me have it.
Man, Steve, did you watch that game? Are you aware? The GOAT got obliterated by 30 points. My man didn't get close.
Apparently, Vital doesn't understand what this really means to me at the moment. Vital, Tom Brady's my quarterback. I was scheduled to beat Cam, who I hate because he's funny, fucking skinny, and he's young. I hate him for those 3 things. I was ready scheduled. I was supposed to beat him.
You had it. You almost had it.
I look at the score, and I ended up at negative 0.62. All I needed was him to get his usual 17 to 22, and I took the day.
If he had one touchdown, you probably would have. It probably would have been a lock to beat Kansas.
Absolutely.
Just one touchdown.
I had a couple other guys that sucked wind for me. I don't know where Chark came from, but I had him in there, and he kicked ass. And
so,
Devontae,
Steve, I have a
how
question.
you doing?
Would a GOAT do that to you?
Oh, man.
Hey, you can't appreciate the good days unless there's a bad day.
That's right. Thank you.
Right.
That's absolutely true.
And I that's not going to take him out of the
bad day. You guys are going to be happy.
That was a bad day. That was the worst loss I think Brady has had since. And I
know his NFL career.
No, not in his whole career. The worst loss, the only loss that was worse than that, and which is interesting because they both come on bookends of his career. There was nothing really in the middle that was that bad, but I think it was the year after they won the Super Bowl, either the first or second Super Bowl, and they had just like cut 2 or 3 of their best defensive guys, and the Bills had signed them. Oh, that was it. It was the first year that Drew Bledsoe was the Bills.
Oh, I think I know. I remember that game.
You remember this game? I think it was the first year they had just won the Super Bowl. Bledsoe had gone to the Bills. 2 other guys like Lawyer Malloy.
Everyone was talking about how they had their playbook.
And they just smoked them right out of it. It was it was like something to nothing. They destroyed them. And that was the last time I can remember Brady taking an L that bad. It was
that was hard to watch, man. First off, in my other league, I had a Gronk, and I was going for number 1, and all I needed Gronk to make was 8 points. He got me 1. I was furious, but I love to see Tom Brady lose.
It was a bad effort, but it was a bad effort all the way around. I mean, it wasn't just Brady. One of those picks was definitely on Antonio Brown and miscommunication. At least one of them. Like, dude, he didn't have any time. And this was interesting because we should talk about this because this is fantasy relevant all the way across the board. People have Bucs players on almost every team. Everyone's got a Bucs player, it seems like. So the struggles that they had. Now, one, the Saints defense looked really good. Like better than anybody expected them to be, probably, especially
like in years. The year when they got fined, that's when they were that good, dude.
Right,
when they were getting paid.
They banned Sean Payton for a whole year. You remember that?
Right. First off, is it that bad? Is it bountying that bad?
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. They were trying to kill Brett Favre. I think that was the big issue that they had.
His old ass shouldn't have been playing. Like, honestly.
His old ass still should have beat them in the NFC Championship game. Actually, that year, all they had to do was like run the ball once or twice, and they probably still would have gone to the. Favre still gets to the Super Bowl in that game. Even
if
after
he had run it, his name wouldn't have been Brett Favre.
Not Brett Favre running it. The Vikings should have run it. Is what I'm saying. Obviously, Brett Favre couldn't run at all at that point in his career.
Can I ask you guys an ethical question?
Sure. I don't know if we're the right guys to ask ethical questions.
I'm hoping from my point you are. Is it okay for me to wish Damien Harris like a hangnail tonight?
First of all, I'm fairly sure his name's not Damien. So I'm
looking at it right now. It says Is it Damien?
Is it Damien? I thought it was like Dimitri.
Am I pronouncing it wrong?
I don't know. You usually get. We actually we named one of the episodes after you calling Rex Burkhead. I don't know.
Yeah.
So your knowledge of the Patriots running back stable is been called into question already.
I purposely looked him up because I just didn't want to say Harris.
Okay. I thought it was Demetrius or something like that. But okay, yeah. Damien Harris. Is there anything morally wrong about wishing horrible things to happen to him? No, I don't.
Not horrible. Hangnail, maybe a little groin pull. I don't know.
Honestly, it's very likely. Like the way the Patriots work, some of those players don't get touches at all in games. It's so random with their players.
I was just reading up, and his name doesn't even come up in the spin.
You'll be fine.
He's definitely going to play. But we'll talk more about that towards the end of the podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Because we know you need the win, but we're going to close it out. We're going to talk about what we need. And since me and Vital have already closed our weeks, you're the only person who has anything going tonight. So we're going to get into that and find out if there's a chance that you still win, which I think there is.
Do your thing. I'll try and hold on while we're waiting.
You just hang on to that thought. You'll be okay, I think. So some of the other Bucs struggles, though, like one thing that they did mention and they didn't talk about it a lot during that cast because everybody was bad, but like their best offensive lineman was out, which seemed to have an impact on the game. Maybe Brady didn't have any time to throw. Like he didn't.
No, he was under pressure, but was that much about the Saints, man? They do talk about the Saints play so well against Tom Brady, I think, and they play against the Bucs often. I think it was a perfect storm. It
was a lot of things all at once. Also, their receivers are just not where they're going to be probably by the end of the season. Godwin, he had a drop. He definitely had a drop where like his finger looked like it was probably partly to blame because he doesn't drop a lot of passes and he's got a broken finger. Antonio Brown and him just aren't on the same page in that offense yet. Like it's, there's a whole bunch of stuff that It's
I don't think
probably
anyone
not.
should read into this. You know what I'm saying? It was a bad game, but no one should like count all the players out. They'll be back.
Yeah, I think and that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like there's granted, the Saints are going to be tough to beat at home in the playoffs, which is very likely where the Bucs will see them in the future. I still think the Saints probably have the advantage, but the Bucs are going to probably be a much different looking team by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a shootout. That's definitely going to come down to the last drive. Like, who doesn't believe that? For sure.
Yeah, especially with Antonio Brown, if he gets up to if he stays on the team and gets up to speed, that's going to be because you saw a couple flashes last night of the old EV, and you're like, oh, he's still got that, So that
he played in the beginning. He had the first 2 catches were good.
He looked good. It just he doesn't know the offense yet, and Brady didn't get time. One thing that was really interesting that I noticed is that which in the past when you've seen Brady play. Like there was always a lot of the narrative was, oh, he only dinks and dunks. He throws short passes. He's that guy. And part of it was that they designed that style of offense to suit the kind of players that they had. And also you just didn't really have to rely on the offensive line to do a whole lot of protection when it's boom, quick throw out of like running back out of the backfield, quick throw here, quick throw there.
Especially if they're quick throws to tight ends, that's where you make up the yards. There's Gronk's going to break a tackle. That was the point.
Not just tight ends though, but guys like Edelman, guys like
who can make plays.
Right, but guys who can make quick passes to to mitigate any kind of pass rush. That's not Bruce Arians' offense at all. Like that
is true.
They were talking.
Everyone goes deep.
They go deep, and that's what he likes to do. And last night he did not have time to go deep. They didn't have time to let any of those pass plays develop. They were talking about how this year specifically they compared like deep balls versus Brady versus Breeze. Brady's thrown over 40 balls, over 40 passes, over 20 yards this year, whereas Breeze I think is like 10. So the Saints have that kind of offense right now where and they have the running back out of the back.
Oh yeah, they funnel a lot throughout, dude. And
exactly. They have good pass catching backs. Brady doesn't have that in Tampa right now. It is not the same kind of offense he's used to where you have a back that's a good pass catcher. They don't have a guy like that. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can tweak that offense or if they just need protection up front if they're going to have any kind of chance in the future. So
we'll see what kind of adjustments they make. Brady's now in an organization without Belichick. Like Belichick would have made those adjustments. Like by the next game, I think he would have known how to play them. Let's see if. And he also
had the personnel, which lately they didn't have the guys down the field to stretch it, but he had the kind of personnel that if you got banged up on the offensive line, he could still create a game plan that was successful without great offensive line play. And I don't see the Bucs having that right now. Something was overshadowed though last night was the return of Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders to that.
It was pretty well.
Dude, those guys were smoking. That offense with both of them in there. Ugh.
But that game was just perfect for them. What a comeback game, honestly. It's just like
yeah, the timing was great. I mean, nationally televised, late game. It was fun to watch. Steve, did you watch some football yesterday? What jumped out at you from any of the earlier games? I know you didn't watch Brady get beat down. This is disappointing to you.
I'm sorry. I just realized that they're playing the Jets tonight, and I'm like, that's like a lot of scoring on hopefully not necessarily on the Patriots side. Nothing's pointing in my direction. So you're asking me things about yesterday. I don't remember breakfast.
Yesterday, anything that was good that you watched?
What did I watch?
Did you watch football? Probably. I don't know.
It was on the TV. It was regular channels. I watched parts of the early games, and they were good.
Did you see the Giants almost blow a lead 3 times?
No, I don't have that. I didn't have that game. I had what regular people have.
How about the Steelers-Cowboys, though? You guys catch any of that?
That was much more competitive than it should have been. Way more competitive than I expected. Because I had this QB. He's not bad. Like, I'm just saying.
He's not that bad. No, you actually may not score any points depending on how Flacco does tonight. So, because he put up like 15. He was way better than everybody. But you never know. That's one of those things. Is a big question mark. Guy who's he's been around kind of, but he's never really played a lot. But he's had a lot, some experience. Yeah.
Oh, and how good is CeeDee Lamb, dude? Like, I'm seeing him develop so much. He's a rookie, too. He gets so much space open and with little moves, dude. Like, CeeDee Lamb, if you have him in your league, good pickup. Like,
yeah, he's legit. He is looking really good. I did notice that you changed your name, though, your team name.
Oh, yeah. I love CeeDee, but I gotta give it to the man who's been carrying me. I got to be honest. Like,
he also had a rough game, though. Russ, man.
Rough start. Yeah. Oh, no. They were in his face a lot. Yeah. He got sacked. I remember.
It was an interesting week for that because, like you talked about, the teams that everybody was super high on, Brady and Russ, and everyone was like, Seahawks got beat up.
I was just gonna say, I was surprised about the Bills game yesterday.
But the Bills have always been one of the best defenses in the league, man. You could never count them out, I think, especially to have a game like that.
Yeah, no, they looked really good, and they still got. I mean, scored on. There was a garbage touchdown late, I guess, But yeah, Russell Wilson turned it over 3 times. That's not Russ-like. that was the biggest surprise to me.
They were really pressure situations. Like they weren't just like bad throws.
No, he was pressing. And I actually think that the part of the reason the blowout was so bad for Brady was also that he was pressing. Like he knew at a certain point in the game, he's like, some teams and some players and whatever, when they get down that much, they're like, you know what, we're just going to mail it in. We're going to run the offense. We're going to try to look respectable. Brady doesn't give up like that. Like when it was 28-0, he was like, I still want to win this game. I still think there's a slim chance. So that's when he started making those just wild,
just forcing it. Like you're trying to make something happen. Exactly.
Trying to make something happen because he knows that's the only chance they have to win.
But that really is the only way you have to win, though. Yeah. Have you seen what Patrick Mahomes talk to his team whenever they were down 21 points? It was like, just do something special every play. That's the only way to come back down 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially against a team like the Saints. Like he knew he was going to have to score 40 to win that game.
Yeah. What was the difference we've watched him do it over and over again for the past 15 years.
I mean, we've watched him do it a lot. It was the team wasn't all there. They weren't all on the same page. They didn't have it put together.
And I think the Saints were running a really good morale situation. They had some of their best players back. Like it was just a game, dude, for them.
No, they got. It wasn't just the wide receivers either. They got one of their defensive ends back. So like the first game, they talked about being able to just focus on Cam Jordan. I forget who the other D end is, but they got him back too. So the Saints are getting healthy at the right time of year. Yeah. And they were just too much for the Bucs to handle for that one. But yeah, Steelers Cowboys. It was interesting. I thought I don't know, man. I still think the Steelers are better than that game. But
no. That's what I'm saying. It was way closer than it should have been. Yeah. But Roethlisberger got banged up early, and then they even put in Rudolph for a little bit. So that affected things.
That did change things a little bit. You're right. But what I also said last week that I thought the Cowboys, even in that last loss, that their defense was starting to look a little bit better. And it did. It looked a little.
Yeah, they played really well, dude. They put a lot of pressure on them. Yeah, that's what they got to Roethlisberger to hurt it. That sandwich hit, it was good.
It was ugly. I was worried about the rest of the season too, and I have Roethlisberger hoping to save my season, which I don't know. It doesn't look good for my team right now.
I think he'll be back. He'll be fine.
Oh no, he's gonna play, but my season is. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I can come back from this. We're both 3-6. It's making the playoffs in our league is going to be tough right now.
Yeah.
So, Mahomes, did you guys see the Patrick Mahomes in motion, quarterback in motion, snap the ball? Did you see that play?
No.
It was another example. Hey, hold on. Blue Crew, I see your comment. Thank you for asking. We will get to your comment in just a little bit. Thank you guys for watching. We'll get to you. So once again, Patrick Mahomes doing something that I've never seen anybody do before on a football field. He went as the quarterback. He went in motion like he was a wide receiver, like behind the line, started running one way, turned around, crossed back, and they snapped him the ball while he was in motion
Wow.
I like that.
And then he looped around the other way. It was like a reverse bootleg. And he hit, I don't know, somebody in the end zone for a touchdown, like Tyreek Hill or somebody. Like, it was a crazy play. You got to watch. You got to Google this play. They'll probably show it at halftime. It was, once again, it was like Andy Reid, just the most creative coach in the whole world. And Patrick Mahomes doing something that nobody's ever seen on a football field before. Like, I don't know. Maybe they did that back in the 30s, but it was that was so cool. So that was probably what, like, the optics of that play stuck in my mind as just yet another Mahomes.
Oh, someone else had a trick play too, I think, on a kickoff, and then I think they almost returned it back. It was like a pitch back. Do you remember?
Yes,
I forget the team.
I think that was the Cowboys against the Steelers.
Yeah, that was a really good special teams play. I remember that. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, it was a throwback across the field, complete reversal. And I think it came down to the kicker making the play maybe on that, because it should.
Well, I think it was a block in the back that brought it back, I think, 10 yards. That's just something like that. Yeah.
They didn't bring it back that much, though, but that was man, another monster game for Dalvin Cook. How about that? Like, just
40. I hate him.
So here's something we've also seen. There are a couple other big games from second tier receivers, and this is something that I think we might start to see. Who was one of the guys? Valdez-Scantling had a really big game, and you know what? That's what happens. Devontae Adams
does. He pops on and off. Rodgers likes him.
No, Rodgers loves him. He gets open. But I thought it was interesting, too. Like, the week after Devontae Adams comes out and says, I'm the best receiver in football, like, starts bragging, like, oh, now you're going to get the best coverage in football, dude. That's like, you want to go brag? Now they're going to be like, all right, well, if he's the best, we're going to go shut him down.
Yeah, but that would have happened no matter what, because of what he's been doing to defenses. Which is just that's what was happening. You were saying to Calvin Ridley. Because Julio, you're forcing a double coverage Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley's open.
Yep. The interesting thing is now it's starting to loop back because Julio is now getting open because they're starting to have to roll coverage towards Ridley, and you're starting to see Julio for the first time in his whole career not be double covered occasionally because they got these fast young receivers.
And Matt Ryan's hitting them again. They're finally winning again.
Those Falcons are interesting, man. They're a fun team to watch regardless. They're always going to have
defensively.
That's what makes those games so fun to watch, because you know they're going to be shootouts every single time. They're great. Another receiver, though, who had like a second tier guy who had a huge week was in that Cardinals game, Christian Kirk. Same kind of effect, I think. They're just, double covering, heavy coverage rolled towards Hopkins, and Christian Kirk went nuts. So that was interesting to see. Both of those games, you saw that second tier guy. And I'm wondering if at some point we're going to start to see teams load the box against Dalvin Cook and force Cousins to throw it. I mean,
you have to.
I would think
you can't let him keep doing that. That's great. And then it burns so much time too. It takes you out of the game.
They shortened the game. Yeah. I would have thought after last week that maybe this week they would do that, but they still didn't. They still couldn't.
But I think you think he's not going to do that twice. And now you're like, oh, this is their whole offense. Now
this is who they are. Yeah. So I'm curious to see if any team is going to, really commit to slowing Dalvin Cook down, and then see if those receivers
are this Vikings in position to make any playoff moves, or
I don't think so. I mean, they need to win out, basically, I want to say, but they're gonna be a spoiler. They're gonna ruin some teams' seasons, I think, with what they're playing right now. They just beat the shit out of the Packers, and then what was it yesterday? Was it the Lions or the?
I'm pretty sure it was just Lions or Colts. Someone blew.
No, it was the Lions. The Ravens beat the Colts. They're another team. I don't trust the Colts either. A couple other things. Oh, McCaffrey coming back, looking great, right?
I'm sorry, you need to send McCaffrey a drug test. Like, I've seen him playing. No, get out of here, dude.
Dude, he's so good at catching the ball out of the backfield. He's so good at running the ball. Like, he gets positive plays. He makes plays everywhere, all over the field.
Is he a big dude?
No, not really.
No. He's not.
Is Kels a big dude?
Seems like.
Kels, he was kicking ass yesterday too.
Kelsey's huge. Kelsey's a monster. He's like 6'5" and so fast. He's one of those rare tight ends who can run catch and block.
Yeah.
He's so big and athletic.
And he's like the QB's best friend. So like
he stuck out in my head from yesterday.
He's always going to get points.
Yeah, he had an enormous, and he didn't even score a touchdown yesterday. But you're right, he was all over the place.
I saw him though every play. Oh, there he is.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
He got like 15 catches or something, I think.
Yeah, it was almost 200 yards. Or over 150 yards, I think. He finds what he's so good. One of the things he's so good at, there's a lot of things. He's great at route running, but he's really great at finding the soft spot in zone defenses. Like he just knows how to get to a spot and sit there. And
that's what I'm saying. He doesn't like go too fast. It's not like a whole thing.
No.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna get right where I need to be. And then
he looked slow and lumbering. Like he was just like
until he gets the
jogging
ball,
over to an area.
And he's gone.
Well, part of that also, though, I think is his gait, his running style. He doesn't look super fast, but he actually is really fast for his size.
Right. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But it does. He does have a lumbering kind of style. It's not like he doesn't look like Gronk used to. Gronk, you were just like, Jesus Christ.
That once Gronk was like the Hulk or something. Once his train started going,
there's no stopping. Yeah, Kelsey's shiftier, but he doesn't look like he's flat out as fast on a straightaway as Gronk used to be.
I just saw his name a bajillion times yesterday.
Everywhere.
Yeah, Kelsey was doing great.
Yeah, and he really besides him, who else is there at tight end right now? I mean, there's Kelsey, and then there's a bunch of other guys, and that's it.
Inconsistent, on inconsistent teams.
I was fortunate enough to grab Evan Ingram, and I didn't play him last week, but I played him this. I think he's one of the few guys who I believe is going to be consistent at tight end the rest of the season. So if you got him, he might be the second best tight end right now in fantasy. He's getting catches, he gets yardage, and they target him a lot. They design a lot of plays for him. So
I have Waller. He does okay.
Waller's pretty good. Yep, Waller does. He's actually, he's very consistent too.
What's up with Kittle?
Kittle's out for the season, man. Last week. So he's out for fantasy purposes. Like ankle. It was 8 weeks. If they made the playoffs, which I don't think they're going to, but if they could have made the playoffs, he would have been back. But no, he's done for the year. A couple other guys got knocked out. We had some other interesting. First of all, before we get to injuries and stuff, do you guys want to throw anything else in there from last? Just stuff that stuck out at you from this.
I have one thing that's football related, but it's college football related.
All right, talk to me.
And I know nothing about college football other than when I go to watch Chappelle on Saturday Night Live recorded on my TV. Instead, I get the end of a game. I don't care. I don't know. What is this? They're over Chappelle. We're comedians, so that's a big deal. Chappelle was on Saturday Night Live.
Was that the Notre Dame Clemson game?
Yeah. That went to double OT, man. It ran late.
I get all excited. I was recording it at midnight. I'm like, I start now. I can fast forward through all the commercials. Boom. Football. Oh, my God. Let's go.
That's what you get for doing too much. It's catch it on demand like me. It's on Hulu, bro. The next day.
I want to see it immediately. I want to watch it. So anyway, that's my one gripe for the weekend. That's all.
So sorry that happened, but Notre Dame fans are thrilled. Actually, college football fans everywhere are probably thrilled to see that.
I'm tired of Clemson.
Yeah. Let's see. So what? Some other news. So, McCaffrey though, even though he looked so good coming back, he actually got a shoulder injury right at the end of the game, and now they're saying he's day to day with this shoulder injury. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw him. I think I saw that happening because I saw him looking at it, but I didn't think it was because he went back in and he caught another ball. I think the last pass they tried, he caught that.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but it was. Yeah, it's a problem. But at least it's not a lower body injury. Anything up about like he's. I trust that he's going to be able to deal with it, hopefully. But it was tough, man. They gave the Chiefs a run for their money yesterday.
Oh, no, it really came down to just like that. And Styler can make those kicks too. Or no, that's not their kicker. Who's their kicker?
Joey Sly.
He can make those kicks.
It was on the edge for him. It would have been an NFL record, but it was I was still like, well, he could do this.
He did a 65-yarder before, I think. So it's an NFL record, but it's only 2 yards more than him.
Yeah. It was very close. It wasn't a close kick, but it could have been. It
had the distance, but it was off. The leg was there.
Man, that's a long way to kick it. So their team, if McCaffrey stays healthy, they could also play a spoiler, I think, to some other teams, just like the Vikings. So they could get hot and not make the playoffs, but ruin some other teams' days.
I think they could get to the wild card.
they might be able to, if they expand it to 8 teams, which I don't know if you guys heard about this, but
I like that.
I
like that a lot.
Great. I mean, half the league would be in the playoffs. No first round buys. I think it'd be super fun because you get those teams. The reason that becomes real interesting is because you get those teams that are hot at the end of the year that a lot of times get left out of the playoffs, and all of a sudden they're in and they're playing the number 1 seed. And those number 1 seeds do not want to see the hottest team in the league that just barely snuck into the playoffs. That's not who they want. Especially first week and no buys. So
that gives me like Heat vibes. Like
yeah, exactly. Miami Heat vibes, totally.
Don't let us in, bro.
Yeah, you're gonna regret it if you let us in. And those are 2 of those teams, I think. Yeah, Panthers and the Vikings for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Once the playoffs roll around, it's gonna be a whole different set of stuff that we have to talk about. We're gonna create some competitions within fantasy competitions for the playoffs. It's gonna be great. The other people can play along with too, guys who watch and fans of the show. Once our official fantasy seasons are over, we're going to try to keep the momentum going with some daily fantasy, some weekly fantasy competitions. You guys can play against us and whatnot. We'll make it fun. All right. So a couple other things, more news. Nick Chubb is set to return this coming week. Big news for anybody who's got him on their roster. And also maybe a hit for anybody with Kareem Hunt, but I don't see it being that big of a downside for Hunt.
I don't think either of them are doing much this season, man. I don't see it. Like, I thought they were better. I think they were overvalued at the beginning of the season. Anyone drafting them is not getting their value,
I think partly they were overvalued. I think you're right. For their average draft position, I think people are really disappointed in them, not just for the injury reasons, but also because there's 2 good backs on a team, you know? Ask Steve about Le'Veon Bell and how he's doing in Kansas City with behind.
I played him yesterday. How about 1.3?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's new to the offense.
He is.
Give him time.
He'll have a game or 2 probably where he's really good. But same kind of thing in Cleveland. You got 2 good backs. If it was just one of them, then I think their value is really good. But when there's 2 of them, it's just really hard.
Especially on a team you're not moving yards anyway.
Yeah, they're a fairly run-centric offense, though.
But are they? I don't know. I don't think they're actually getting the yards. I'm saying like making the transitions enough to carry that. They focus on the run, but you only run it 8 times a drive. I don't know. It's like
the Browns and that's speaking of Browns news. Baker Mayfield just got put on COVID, the COVID list. Yeah. So he might not even get to play this week. So
what was that though? They said he didn't have symptoms. I didn't get it.
It might have been just a situation where he was it came in contact with somebody or something like that. Like they're being pretty careful about all of that stuff. So he's going to have to test negative in order to play a couple times, I think, this week. So that's going to be interesting, but they are coming off a bye week and you expect them to have a pretty good game coming out of that. Couple other interesting some injury news, and we're going to get to Blue Crew. We're going to get to your question because he's got some waiver pickup questions. We'll talk about injuries first, and we'll talk about your waiver ideas. David Montgomery is in concussion protocol. He's a name that's probably he's rostered. He's probably starting for a lot of teams. He's had some ups and downs. Bears offense. Matt Nagy's talking about shaking things up in the Bears offense, so that could potentially be helpful. But Montgomery's still in concussion protocol. He's questionable for next week. Matt Stafford got knocked out of that game late. He could have probably helped you win, Steve. I know you got him on your bench.
If I got the 7 points he put up, I'd have been in heaven right now.
You'd have been much better off. But Stafford already has cleared concussion protocol, so apparently not a serious concussion. He's going to be playing next week, barring anything else unusual. Laviska Shenault from the Jaguars he left the game with a hamstring. He's a flex guy. He's been putting up some points. He's been a really fun guy to watch. He's got a hamstring injury. He's questionable for next week. Probably going to play, maybe not. We're not sure. And then I don't know how big of an implication this has for fantasy unless it's a deeper league, but Kyle Allen I didn't watch
his foot fell off, dude.
I hate that shit. I can't stand it. They gave you the warning on Red Zone. They're like, you may not want to watch this. I was like, no.
They don't give you enough time. They give you enough time to turn your head.
Right. You're like, what? I'm not supposed to watch. Just gives me creeps. But the weird thing is, Washington, so he broke his leg in half. And, of course, who's going to replace him? Alex Smith.
Oh.
The guy who almost lost his leg. So he's coming back in as the starter for Washington,
those last 2 drives he fucked up. Like, he started off really well, man. He led him on a comeback, and then all of a sudden, the last 2 drives, pick. I was like, man.
What are you gonna do? I mean, it's you get what you get with Alex Smith, and also he's rusty and he hasn't played in 2 years. I think he'll be okay. Usually, actually, he takes care of the ball. But he's not going to put up a whole lot of fantasy points typically, unless he has a big running game. He's not fantasy worthy typically. No. Who else we got? Okay, so let's get to our question here. Those are some key injuries. Blue Crew is asking us, he's trying to pick up McKissick. So we're talking Washington football team. He's got number 2 on waiver priority. It's PPR. Is he worth adding? Steve, you had McKissick earlier this year.
Yeah.
How was he? I know you dropped him since then.
I think I dropped him if I needed room and he got hurt or something. I don't know. I didn't. Yeah. I had a better opportunity, but I liked him, and he kicked ass one game for me. I remember. Yeah,
he's a productive guy, especially in PPR. He catches a lot out of the backfield. He's a dump off guy, which you got Alex Smith quarterback in your team. Kyle Allen was more of a throw it down the field kind of quarterback. Alex Smith likes to dump it off to back, so I think McKissick is probably a really good pickup.
I think he's still solid there, but do you need running back? I mean, obviously, right? You're shopping him. I
mean, he's looking. Yeah, he said he's definitely looking for running back. So he said his other running backs are Kamara and Zeke, which you're going to play those guys, but McKissick as a flex is a good option.
That's a great third. Yeah.
He'd be high on my pickup list for this week, especially if you need a running back. He actually is on my list.
But also, you look like you have a bunch of good running backs. Do you need a receiver? Because there are some good receivers popping up too. So I don't know what else you're considering.
He said my other 2 running backs. Maybe he only has 2 running backs on his roster currently. So you got to back him up somehow. Yeah, you want to go for McKissick. Take him if you're looking for running backs. At Blue Crew, another question. Which one of these tight ends do you see having a better ROS upside? Tanyan, Cook, or Hooper rest of the season? Tanyan, Cook, or Hooper? Do any of these guys ride with only 1 tight end in your leagues? Do any of you guys ride with only 1 tight end? I have a backup.
Not unless he's Kelsey.
If you have Kelsey. But no, Kelsey's on a bye week this week. So if you have Kelsey, you better have a backup or you better go get one. Do you guys have 2 tight ends on your rosters?
I think I have 2.
Vital? Yeah.
No, I only pick up a second tight end on a bye week. I think I have Kelsey. So yeah.
Because you have Kelsey.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're carrying Kelsey, that's reasonable.
But aside from that, if I don't have a good number 1 tight end, most seasons I play by week. I play the matchup usually for tight ends.
Yeah. Now Steve is in a very unique position. He hoarded the 3rd and 4th best tight ends with the 5th and 6th pick. Steve who did you take, Steve? Tell us.
Waller and Andrews.
Waller and Andrews. You're sitting.
Andrews gave me nothing.
Well, yeah, but those guys have given you wins this year. Those guys have put up points. Like you won a couple of your early matchups just because of those 2.
So I know how to pick them.
Yeah, you know how to pick them, and you know how to hoard tight ends in a really slim tight end year. So anyway, who you guys like more, Tanyan, Cook, or Hooper going forward for the rest of the season? PPR once again. I
kind of want to see who they're playing real quick, but I think Hooper.
You think Hooper for the rest of the year? Harrison Bryant has been doing such good things for the Browns. I think Hooper is going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to be that consistent. And I know,
but I think he's a good dump for them. Like I think the way I've seen what's his name dump to him, I think he's going to get yards.
Yeah. Oh, and with Odell Beckham going out, Hooper is. Yeah, you're right. Hooper might be the way to go. Jared Cook, though, in that high volume offense, and Breeze likes to go to Cook in the end zone. I don't know if he got one yesterday, but he tried to get him in the end zone yesterday. I think I would go Cook over Hooper just because I trust that offense to have a higher volume.
I trust that offense, but I feel like too many weapons. I'm actually going to go the opposite. I'm sorry we're not helping you, man.
That's a tough out.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's a that's a toss up. Tanyan, I just don't think he gets the looks consistently enough. I would go Hooper or Cook.
Yeah.
But yeah, not. I don't.
Well, I take Tanyan then.
Steve with his 2 great tight ends.
Right.
So I know what I'm doing.
Right. Maybe listen to Steve. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah. Steve is the tight end.
I go by names. I love the name Tanyan.
I like how you put it.
Real quick question. That guy you said before, Vishkovi Shmuni, is he from like Slovakia or something?
Yeah. He's the great Slovakian running back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They brought him over on a green card visa, I think.
I'm serious. His name sounded like it's like Vishkiel or something.
Yeah, Lavishka Chanel. He's definitely not. He was happy with the election results because he's not as worried about getting deported now. It's very, very positive now.
Perfect.
Lavishka Chanel. I don't know. That's a French name, though, right? At least Chanel is.
I have no idea.
The greatest French running back in Jacksonville Jaguars history. So yeah, he's a rookie, by the way, if you're wondering about it. He's a lightning rookie. He's a running back / wide receiver. He might even be one of those guys that you can start in either position. I
think he's listed as that too, because I've been seeing that.
Yeah, that's like having a flex player, which is so fun, especially when they're productive. You're like, ooh, who do I play in the wide receiver? He's like the perfect guy for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a nice thing to have with him. Let's talk about some other waiver pickups. Blue Crew, if you're looking for anybody else, say you don't get McKissick. Boston Scott coming off a bye week, probably going to be healthy for the Eagles, going up against, I think, some terrible defense in the NFC East, most likely, if I had to guess.
I think the Eagles are going to have a good time. Like, if anyone who has Eagles players, like,
now's the time to go get some Eagles. I think you're right. Couple Rams running backs might be available. I don't know who's going to be healthy and who's going to be starting, but if you can get lucky on which Rams running back gets most touches, that's one way to go. Wayne Gallman, actually. I think Gallman is going to see.
The Giants, they're really feeding him. They didn't even have a really good game, dude.
He got a touchdown, but no, you're right. He didn't even have the best game, and he still had a pretty good game. So Gallman's a guy. He's the guy going forward. I think at least until Devontae Freeman comes back, and I don't know if he's coming back. James White, he's healthy. He's going to be playing.
I hope he plays a lot tonight. Him and Burkhardt, and I hope they bring back Stoney Michel. And all those 3 guys tonight.
He's out. Whatever. Okay. So James White, possibly, or Burkhardt. I don't know if Burkhardt's even Burkhead. Zach Moss, if he's still available in your league, he's another guy. He had another good week for the Bills. If he's still there, go get him maybe. And Gus Edwards he's kind of touchdown dependent, but the Ravens are starting to lean on Gus Edwards a little bit in their power running game.
Is Ingram coming back anytime soon?
I haven't heard. It's worth looking into. I don't know. Yeah. That's
if he's not, definitely pick him up if you got him on it, because the Ravens are playing well again. So
yeah. I picked up J.K. Dobbins last week, just sitting on my bench just to see, just in case, because if at one point one of those guys becomes a clear lead back, that could be valuable. A couple wide receivers might be available in your league. Jerry Jeudy had an enormous game, monster game. You're talking about CeeDee Lamb. Some of these rookie wide receivers are number 1 studs right out of the gate. And Jerry Jeudy is that guy for Denver.
Yeah, that kid is nasty.
He's so good. And they have a couple other young receivers that are really good too. He's not the only one, but he's
QB2. That team is like if not this year, but next year, I think they're going to be a huge problem in the AFC.
I agree.
Big problem.
And part of the problem is Drew Lock starting to play good. He's got 2 weeks in a row. He's actually on my QB list. We'll get to him. Let's go through a few more wide receivers for you guys. Hunting wide receivers on waivers. John Brown's another guy. John Brown had a big week. Bills.
John Brown's a good receiver there. And then again, bad offense, number 1 guy. He gets so many points, man.
Yeah, well, Diggs is, I think, technically the number 1.
Oh, yeah, but I was talking about, like, touches.
Week to week,
I think Diggs goes for the deep.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think John Brown is going to be right up there. And he's another example of the number 2 guy seeing the benefit of finally teams rolling coverage towards Stephon Diggs, because Stephon Diggs has had a couple monster weeks. So
I mean, you have to like Diggs.
yeah, you got no choice. So John Brown's going to see some nice action. Danny Amendola had another nice game with, as long as Kenny Galladay's out, he's a guy you can probably play at a flex, especially in PPR. He gets a lot of catches. We talked about Valdez-Scantling already. He's maybe flex worthy. He's boom or bust, I'd say, right? He's definitely, but when he booms big. David Moore.
But there's so many receivers on that team, man. It's really hard to guess.
I guess. I don't know. Are there really that many receivers on the Packers?
Yeah, man, because remember in the beginning of the year that I forget his name, something A. Lazard, he was popping before Scantes, and there's another receiver right behind Scantes now.
Lazard is hurt, I think. I think Lazard is out.
No, he's hurt, yeah, but I think he's coming back soon. It wasn't a year.
Maybe you're right. No, yeah, I think he might be coming back. So that's something to keep an eye on if you're looking at Scantling. Another guy who's been sometimes having games, David Moore for the Seahawks. He's getting a little bit further down the depth chart here. Nelson Aguilar keeps having some big games for the Raiders. I don't know.
Inconsistent.
Super inconsistent, but boom or bust, man. And he can light up the scoreboard. Like they've been going deep.
He's a good gamble flex.
Yeah. And he might pay off for you. Jalen Reagor is coming back for the Eagles. You're talking about Eagles receivers again. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who's probably going to start seeing some more. And, and then the Browns, Rashard Higgins. He's going to slide into that number 2 role for the Browns, opposite. He's going to basically be filling in for Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay, yeah.
He is. I'm pretty sure he's their clear number 2 wide receiver now.
You have to say Junior when you say his name.
Who? Which one?
Is there another Odell Beckham in the league?
Probably not, but that's his name.
I know.
I mean, that's when you have a moniker. When you have he goes by I think it's OBJ is what they like. That's what they call him. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you say that, you got to say.
I just think it's a little pretentious. That's all.
Junior.
I'm Steve Lamm the first.
Probably the last too, right? I mean,
wait, from your mouth to God's ears. I got 2 boys. I don't want any more.
It's good to know. We don't want any more of you either, Steve.
Thank you very little.
One Steve is plenty. All right, so QBs. Let's wrap up the waivers. QBs. Drew Lock, 2 weeks in a row now, and I know the defenses were terrible that he played, but he put up over 30 fantasy points in 2 weeks in a row, I think. So Drew Lock, he's somebody, and there are teams that are definitely have quarterbacks on bye weeks. Patrick Mahomes is on a bye this week, so there's gonna be teams that are out there looking for a guy to throw in. Drew Lock's a guy. Teddy Bridgewater also, especially if McCaffrey's playing. McCaffrey
they're playing good. He's playing good.
He's playing good, exactly. And he's been playing pretty good anyway. Bridgewater has. Derek Carr, I believe, has a pretty favorable matchup. And he's been putting up some decent numbers. He didn't have a huge fast.
You have to play Carr by the matchup, though, I think.
Yeah, you do. He's not going to be terrible, though, even in a bad – he's probably going to still give you 15 to 18.
He's had some bad games, I think.
He hasn't had that many bad games this year, man. Gruden has really turned his whole career. He's not even turned his career.
Yeah, you're right. The Raiders have been playing really good. They have 2 really good running backs. Or any of them are they're playing really good.
Devontae Booker had a big game for them, which was weird. Nobody expected that. Ryan Tannehill, another guy, maybe on waivers. And I'm gonna throw it out there. Tua. You might want to, if you need a guy, Tua this week. I think he has a pretty good matchup. Let me take a look. We're going to talk QBs in a minute. But Tua's matchup is for next week. I wanted to say it was kind of favorable. The Chargers. So that's maybe going to be a shootout. Plus, you get those rushing yards with Tua. I know it's a risk, but the Chargers have been giving up a lot of points. So
yeah, I think the Dolphins are on a win streak. They are. So they're carrying a lot of momentum into this.
I think Tua could be hot. Tua could be a good pick. All right. So, Steve, let's talk about what we need tonight, what you need tonight. You are one of the only people. This game tonight does not have a lot of fantasy relevance for a lot of people. Not a lot of people playing Patriots or Jets. Crucial roles to get the win or not get the win. What do you need tonight to win, Steve? What do you need not to have happen?
Damien, that's his name, Harris, to get 10.13 or less points, and I win.
10.13 in a PPR or less. Normally, I would say you have a pretty good chance, but they're playing the Jets.
Well, I gotta hope that they play doing a lot more Burke, Hart, and James, because he's questionable.
That's true. You're right. I forgot. I was going to mention that. Damien Harris isn't even necessarily going to play.
If he doesn't play, I'm going to do jumping jacks in my living room.
Well, here's the thing. If he doesn't play, I'm pretty sure Cam is a fairly savvy
I don't think he's got anybody else.
No, but he'll drop Damien Harris and pick up whoever he needs to fucking play. Like, I guarantee you, he'll go pick up.
Damien Harris isn't a keeper.
No, he'll drop him in a heartbeat. If Harris ends up being out, he'll go pick up James White or Burkhead.
Hey, Steve, maybe you go ahead and you sabotage him. Do you have anyone to drop? And then you start picking up any running backs you can't get.
Pick all running backs.
Pick up all the Patriots running backs.
No, I'm gonna be quiet and hopefully Cam doesn't watch this and leave it be. Because I'm hoping from my research, which I read about 2 paragraphs about the whole thing, that the other 2 guys, and they're talking about Sony Michel, that him bringing him.
Is he not still? I thought he was still out.
I don't know. His name came up, and Burkhead and James White, but they like him too. Anything if he picks up McKissick averages 10.6.
Listen, I don't even think he'll get a lot of yards. Just hopefully he doesn't get a touchdown. But their running backs don't get points.
Wait a minute. How could he pick somebody up? There might be somebody available, but who's available that he could pick up that didn't play already?
The other
running backs, because if that running back isn't going to play, I would just drop it and get his replacement.
Or depending on if it's a flex position, he could even go with a Jets wide receiver or a Patriots wide receiver or something. It's just so hard to pick a guy who you think is going to be good tonight. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit DraftKings. So we got our DraftKings competition. I don't know if Lonnie has picked his team yet. I'm sure he probably has, but we'll remind him if he hasn't. So in terms of the game tonight, who do you guys like? We got Flacco quarterbacking the Jets against the Patriots, who are also terrible. What do you think?
I'm going to think just Cam's going to take it. I think he will just have a much better game. The Pats going to do better because it's the Jets haven't won any this year, right?
No, they're 0-for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that's why I'm picking the Jets.
Yeah.
You can't lose every game.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. I mean,
what happened yesterday?
Was
there upset yesterday?
They're
the
both
Saints
upset.
are great.
But ask Vital if your team can lose every single game. Because
that didn't happen. we won one. First
no offense, Vital.
You're thinking of the Browns.
League?
The Browns.
It could happen. I'm just saying you've been worried about it in the past at some point.
Oh yeah, it can't happen.
It can definitely happen. It's happened to the Browns. Has it happened to the Jets? I don't know if it's ever happened to the Jets. This could be the year. This could be their
year. That's rare, but they're playing terribly.
They're really bad. So we got our DraftKings thing going tonight. Did you have a hard time picking players for DraftKings?
Dude, first off, half of them are hurt, doubtful, this, and they can really get.
I don't know who to go with. And I'm like, how is this guy cost that much money? There's no way he should, because there's nobody else. Yeah.
Because if you do it compared to other DraftKings, these players are the same price as Travis Kelce. It's
I know. It's nuts. And normally they're $2,000.
Right.
Whoever Mims is or something, you know what I mean?
I should be able to put all the players on my team right now and have money left over.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So who's your captain? Who did you go with for a captain today?
Cam Newton. I think he'll get at least 3.
I got Cam Newton too. I figured it's that he's the safe play for captain mode, and we're just going to be dueling scrubs after that.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun. It is going to make the game more interesting and exciting to watch. And then the other thing, of course, that's still, and this hasn't happened yet, probably because usually there aren't really bad quarterbacks playing in the Monday night game. But for the first time this year, our worst quarterback competition has come down to the Monday night game. Danny Dimes, who Lonnie picked, got an 8.88. Pretty bad. Very respectably bad. Your guy Gilbert put up 13.52.
Respectable.
A little bit more. Yeah, I was gonna say it's still pretty bad, but it was more than we expected him to put up. So the best you can do, Vital, is second place potentially, and I got Flacco tonight, and I have all the faith in the world that Flacco is going to get me the victory.
But here's my thing. I don't think they're going to win, but I think Flacco might get yards because he's been playing enough to and Flacco's not trash. He's just old and washed. But
exactly. That's exactly what he is.
He can get he reminds me of Alex Smith. He can get the ball out.
He can't. That's the thing. He can no longer get the ball out. He's washed.
Okay, we're gonna see.
The only thing I'm scared of is that they actually do have their top 3 receivers in playing tonight for the first time all year, and that's Crowder, Mims, and Brashad Perriman. So, yeah, cause for a little bit of concern, but I'm counting on the Patriots to just mop the floor with Flacco. I think he's gonna give me some picks. He's gonna get me a bunch of sacks. He may get
very
yards,
liable.
but I think picks and sacks are in the future for Flacco. So that definitely has got to be coming. All right, so we're gonna wrap this show up, guys. Do you have anything? So for anybody who watches and listens regularly, we do a DraftKings competition for every Monday Night Football game. Maybe we'll even throw in a Thanksgiving special DraftKings. Maybe we'll do a little short episode on Thanksgiving, or maybe we'll just do a DraftKings competition on Thanksgiving. Maybe we don't have an episode for it, but
just the games.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But anyway, so we play DraftKings. If you want to play against us, send us your handle, send an email, whatever, so you can make a comment. But best way to get a hold is through our Facebook page, fantaCTE on Facebook. Same logo and everything as the YouTube. Let's see. We got any comedy shows coming up, guys? Anything you want to promo? Anything other than comedy?
I will be Kathy from Human Resources this Friday evening at the Accomplice Theater. And she's actually giving a seminar, and there will be 4 additional keynote speakers that are yet to be revealed. And one of them is in our league, Rob Callert.
Oh, I know Rob about that.
Rob is always very interesting as a female. Let's put it that way.
Rob was our guest last week, and I think he was also promoting the same show that you have coming up. To clarify for anybody who doesn't know what the hell Steve's talking about, Steve will be performing in a drag comedy show, same one we talked about with Rob last week, presented by Anna Lepley. She's done this a few different times. Have you done this, Vital? Did you do this? Have you done that?
No, I've never done it. But yeah, I know Anna's been doing this for years, man. It's like a great show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really fun. Yeah. So Steve's doing it as his alter ego, Kathy from Human Resources, who you can also look up on. Kathy from Human Resources. She's got an Instagram page.
She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. She's got it all. She does little videos. She's very helpful to people in the working world. Unfortunately for Kathy, the working world ended about 8 months ago. So she's got a whole new shtick to talk about this weekend at the show.
I'm excited about the seminar. I'm going to try to make it, honestly, too. And where is the show again?
At the Accomplice Brewery in West Palm, just around Belvedere in that area. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. Accomplice.
Great drinks, too.
West Palm.
Like cider. If you guys love cider, fire.
Do they make their own cider? Is it a brewery, like a cider brewery?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds fun.
It's really good. I actually had a couple of sips last time. It was real good.
Wow. Yeah, they're really good, man.
Wow. Nice.
And I have a show at a country club on Saturday.
Oh,
where I'll be playing to probably 50 to 60 elderly folk. Although it's in the evening, the shows I've done in the daytime at those places aren't fun necessarily, but this is an evening gig, and we're doing 2 shows. I think we have a 6 and an 8.
Nice.
Hopefully we'll get some beef tips and golden noodles in between.
A little what do they call it?
Hors d'oeuvres.
Borscht.
Borscht.
A little cold beet soup.
All right. Well, and that's a show that you promo that nobody can go to.
That's no, I'm doing it. I'm just bragging at this point. Nobody can go. There's a gate.
Unless you live in that community.
Yeah. Hunters Run, Delray Beach. Come visit. Tell them, go to the gate. Tell them you're here to see Steve Lamm.
Steve Lamm, also known as Kathy from just
Kathy.
Tell them the guys from fantaCTE told you could get in. I'm sure that will get you through most gates in and Delray, that without a doubt. Yeah, I'm sure that's the majority of our demographic is living in gated communities and we actually a quick shout out before I promo our shows. We actually have watchers or listeners because I can track all this through Anchor, which is our host site.
That's creepy.
It is. I don't know everything about these people, but it does show you where they are located in the world. And there have been a couple listens from, I think, Germany and Ireland, and like 3% or some very small percentage of our listeners or viewership through that podcast sites have been overseas. So maybe there's some guys over there. Who knows? It could be our somebody from our military who's stationed over there who follows. But shout out to everybody who's listening, everybody who follows the podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Share with your friends, share with your family, share with the people who you play fantasy with, because we want everybody to get all of our bad advice, so it's fair for everyone. Let's put it out there. And for anybody listening overseas, we appreciate you guys. Keep tuning in. We'll keep sending you, our questionable fantasy football advice throughout the remainder of the season. My comedy shows, I got a couple coming up. They're not this week, they're the following week, but I'll promo them again anyway. Thursday, November 19th, Blue Jean Blues, our second show. These guys were both on the first show.
Great show.
Thank you guys for coming to that first show. And second show's coming up with a killer lineup, so I'm excited about that. Saturday, November 21st, a couple days after that, is the American Legion show, hosted by Dom Nessie, who's going to be on our program as a guest, I believe, at the end of this month, end of November. So we are excited about that. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you guys again for listening. Once again, we are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and some other ones that I can never remember, but I will at some point give you guys props if I ever see you show up, that people are listening on those sites.
Full body cast.
Full body cast. Full body cast.
Just type in our name and cast.
Full body cast. That's what you're hoping Damien Harris ends up in tonight.
Absolutely.
Full body cast. So Steve can actually win his fantasy matchup. We are live on YouTube every Monday night, usually around 5:30. Follow us on Facebook, like us, subscribe to get any updates and interesting stuff. And I also share all kinds of stupid NFL memes on our Facebook page too. So if you're into that, check us out. I think that's about it. Thank you guys so much for coming. We will be back next Monday night. And we'll do our picks. We're going to do our bad quarterback picks later on. So we aren't going to actually talk about those tonight because we don't know who won or lost this week yet, but there's some bad quarterbacks we're going to get to for next week. All right. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right. See
Pray
you
for me.
Damien and Burkhart.
I'm wishing you the best, Steve. You deserve it.